Okay. No problem.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Just as a reminder, this channel is for educational purposes only. And welcome back to Forever Conscious Research Channel. Okay, so tonight got a interesting one. It's a 3-person panel discussing their pre-birth memories. And they go over quite a bit. It's clear that the topic of the soul trap is making waves, and they're getting questioned, and they're just coming across and sharing what happened with them, and in my opinion, trying to rationalize Stockholm Syndrome, but we'll get to that eventually. Just as a friendly reminder, please, I just try to be respectful if you talk to some of these individuals. I know most of you do, but there's, I guess, a few out there raising hell, and instead of having a constructive conversation, it's nasty. So I don't know. Anyways, just thought I'd throw that out there ahead of time. So some of the topics discussed are going to be: are we stuck in a reincarnation trap? Why can't we remember our existence before birth? Why would anyone choose to come to Earth and suffer? And so many things about Earth don't make sense. So let's get this going. I have Harold joining me, so I'd like to bring on Harold, and he's a good friend of the show. He's going to be doing a co-commentary together with me today. So welcome, Harold. Oop, wrong window. Okay. Anyways, while we're waiting, Harold, welcome aboard. It's great to have you, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me again. This one looks like it's going to be a good one for sure.
Yeah, man. I'm really looking forward to going over this with you because it's a big case. Or big, it's good that there's 3 of them, so we got a lot we can go over.
Definitely. You got 3 experiencers talking about pre-birth and now mixing in, the idea of the soul trap. So it's going to be spicy.
Yeah, and Melissa is the host of this channel. It's called Love Covered Life Podcast. And I know she's gotten a lot of comments from many of you. And I just don't think she likes the topic coming up. And, I understand she's got her point of view, but we have ours. And the experiencers that she brings to the table, including herself, along with many other individuals who interview or have had near-death experiences or, any sort of experience in general that kind of goes and piles on to the evidence of the soul trap and how this place functions and everything like that needs to be discussed. So we're going to start this off and get right into it. We could be here a while tonight, but this may end up also being a 2-parter. So keep that in mind as we go along. We're going to try to get through as much as we can, though. So, all right. So here we go. Thanks again for joining me tonight, Harold. It's always good to have you.
No problem. I'm excited for sure.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us today. This is one of the conversations that I am most excited about that I've ever done. I am so excited and honored to have Christian Sundberg and RK Muratova here with me today. One thing that the 3 of us have in common is that we all have pre-birth memories. And so we thought it would be a good idea to get together and just talk about our pre-birth memories and answer some of the questions that were asked most commonly. So I will link in my description both of the previous interviews that I've done with each of them where they explain their pre-birth memories and my pre-birth memory story as well. So you can check that out if you're not familiar with their story. For now, I'm just going to give each of them a brief introduction. When Christian Sundberg was a young child, he remembered his existence before coming to Earth. While that memory left him completely for his early adult life, it spontaneously returned at the age of 30 as Christian took up a meditation practice and went through a personal awakening journey. He also began to have out-of-body experiences. Christian has worked for over 15 years as a professional project manager for complex nuclear pump and valve manufacturing projects. Christian has also presented at over 80 public speaking events as he now seeks to remind others in at least a small part of who we all really are beneath the human play. And you can find Christian at his website, awalkinthephysical.com. You can find his book at awalkinthephysical.com/book. So thank you for joining.
Oops, I just wanted to say really quickly for anyone interested, there's a very good chance many of you are familiar with Christian, either through your own research or perhaps you've run across the video that I've done. You'll might recognize him, and he's really made the rounds out there and is sharing his pre-birth memory. So some of you may be familiar with him.
Christian, welcome. I'm really excited to have you here.
Thank you so much, Melissa. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
And my other guest is Arke Muratova. She is originally from Kazakhstan, currently in Australia. She has a bachelor's of animation and she is a content creator, singer, songwriter, and artist. She has a pre-birth memory and also visitations, dreams, and out-of-body experiences. And you can find her on her YouTube and TikTok at Divine Inside. So welcome, RK. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Melissa.
Of course, I'm so excited to have both of you here. And so we have, we were going to do 6 questions, 2 for each of us, but then we added a bonus question on the end. So we have 7 questions and we'll just jump right in and get started. Question number 1 is, how do we know we aren't being tricked into coming here over and over? And I get this question a lot because there are some pretty prominent voices on YouTube who are saying that we're caught in and stuck in an earth prison and reincarnation cycle here against our will. So we're going to talk about that. How do we know that we aren't actually being tricked into coming here over and over and that we do have free will? Do you guys do you want to like have an order of how we answer it, or you just want to jump in?
However you feel, Melissa. You could start and we can go around, or just jump in. It could be organic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'll start. So my experience of the other side from my pre-birth memories and my out-of-body experience that I had when I was 18 is that it is not very easy to deceive. Like, truth is pretty self-evident on the other side. And I'm not going to say that it's impossible for there to be a deception, because I don't think my experiences are encompassing enough to say that. But what I can say is based on my own personal experience, and specifically in interacting with my guides or angels or whatever name you have for those beings, the ones that specifically help you to plan your life and guide you through this life, the truth of who they are is very self-evident. Because when you're on the other side, you don't have physical barriers to hide.
Okay, very self-evident.
Things behind. You don't have mental barriers. When you interact with another spirit being, you go way beyond being able to simply read their thoughts. You can become one with them to the point where you feel that you are them and you've experienced everything that they have from their point of view. It's really impossible for there to be a deception in a scenario like that, because if they were saying something that was untrue, which I think would be impossible to begin with, you would immediately know it.
Okay, so I think this is a very, very common misconception throughout, especially the New Age community. It really drives me crazy. If you can come down here and be deceived, and yeah, I mean, we're talking about 2 different worlds. We're talking about the astral realm and in a different form that we all are. versus when we're here. But to say that deception is impossible because, oh, you can see right through them, and you know, or some say, oh, they have to tell the truth, whatever it is. I take a big issue with that because remember, if there is no time to respond, there's no moment for you to make sovereign decisions, right? And remember, just like Christian is going to bring this up later. He's going to talk about how when we come here, you know, like basically we're in their world. It's the same concept. We're in their world, inside their realm, their making, their mechanics, their kind of BS control systems. And if we are still in those, then how do we know that we are tapping into our full essence? I mean, even just with other experiencer types or topics, I should say, a lot of them will claim up, down, left, and right that they knew the answer to every question of the universe and everything and stuff like that. And then it becomes very clear that they don't. I mean, there's a lot of different things we can throw out there. Harold, what do you think?
I think in the very beginning, she even right off the bat kind of like gave a disclaimer that she's not sure. She's not saying that it's not possible, but then she went on to she just started talking about her personal experience, and it's kind of like she's talking like from a position of authority because she is an experiencer, and she's basically, what she's talking about is that wow factor, that love bombing wow factor. You're constantly, you just know, and she's banking on that. So to me, it just seems like when I've heard her talk before, it's just banking off of, I'm an experiencer. I just know, I felt the oneness. I felt the all knowing. I felt there's no lies. There's no all this. And I actually completely understand where she's coming from in that sense. But she's just, I to me, I'm like, how can you not see it when you're here? You can see the signs and symbols are everywhere. So she has her blinders up, and that's just what I'm observing with her.
Sure. I
Just
mean,
blinders.
Yeah, the blinders are up. You know, and just like your experience was powerful. By the way, anyone who's new or not familiar with Harold had his own pre-birth memories from as far back, you know,
Since before everything.
Yeah.
Was,
and your experience was powerful, just like her experience is powerful, and everyone else who has experience, whether it's pre-births or NDEs or even OBEs, breakthrough trips, you name it, all these things are extremely powerful and life-changing or life altering or shifting, or they will help someone kind of stay stuck in a certain mindset. And then when you have this confirmation being blasted over and over and over by others, then it kind of makes things feel even more right. What would you think about that?
It's a safety blanket. Like it's so comfortable. As hard as my life has been, it's always been the thing that has comforted me in all the hard times. So for people like experiencers, like Melissa and the other gentleman, they have to take that safety blanket off to, you know, to get down to brass tacks, and that's not easy to do. Because Matt, even after all this time I've hung out with you, Mark, in the community, every once in a while I get like a feeling to just like get, you know, to want to put that safety blanket back up. That's how strong it is. Even knowing what I know, it's like it's, you know, how when shit gets really hard, you're just like, gosh dang it, like, you know, you just want to look to a higher power to like take care of you, essentially, and everything's going to be okay. So it's when I hear the denial from experiences, to me, it's just like a fear-based response, 100%.
Yeah, man, I empathize with, I mean, wanting, that safety blanket, wanting someone to
have your back.
Yeah, I mean that's natural. Natural.
Yep. Yep.
And it was kind of like it was ingrained in us too, right? I mean, the whole, at least many of us, and I can't say all of us, but like the whole, you know, ask God for
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, pray this, do this, whatever the case may be. It depends on where you are in the world, but it's the same type of concept. Always looking exterior to ourselves for something to alleviate our pain and suffering or difficult times.
Yep.
And so speaking for myself and my specific experience with these, what I would call my angels or my guides, the knowledge that I had of them is deeper than you would have of your children, your parents, your intimate partner. It's like you are a part of them, and you are all a part of this magnificent song of creation of everything that is. And it's just perfect knowledge, it's perfect communication, and it's perfect trust.
Perfect.
And also specifically for me, I remember planning my life. I was in no way tricked into coming here. I can't necessarily speak for anybody besides myself, but I did plan it. I was very excited about it. And I chose all of the major life events that
maybe they didn't show her the realm before they went.
That's my take on that question.
Okay, you want to go next?
I'm sorry. You want to say that again, Harold?
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, please do. That's why you're here, bro.
I was going to say maybe she said she was excited to come. And I was like, maybe they did not show her the realm like they showed me. Yeah, because if anyone can look at that and then be excited, then I have to question what they are, because there's no way. It's impossible.
Especially with what you're bad vibes all the way, man.
Instantly, it was just chaos, and just raw emotion, being like, just observing that and just being bombarded by it. And it was just like, make it stop, looking at this thing. So for sure, I would love to ask her, did they show you where you were going to go? Like, did you see Earth? Did you see it? Okay.
Yeah, it's really well said. And with Christian here, if I recall, I'm almost positive, I think it was he basically self-aborted himself 2 times.
Oh, this is the gentleman that did that? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Because he was like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. So he saw where he was going. So he saw it.
Oh man, yeah, it's just whacked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure. Well, I have thought about this question, and I have never been asked this, but I've seen this circling around the internet, and I did ask like the guides when I met them. I asked like a bunch of questions, but then when I tried to recall them consciously, it was very abstract, all over the place, because I tried to wrap words around them. And also the human mind filters everything. So I was trying to understand what I received and what they were trying to say, what I felt. But what I can start off with for this question, being tricked itself, it comes from the human mindset, human experience, and from the ego itself. So
all right, so right away we have tricked being compared with the ego. And the ego is responsible for a lot. I mean, everyone has an ego, and there are many out there who will say, oh, well, you can dissolve the ego and get rid of it and all this stuff. No, it's I just don't believe that it could be fully dissolved. It can be tamed a little bit, toned down, and I think as you grow older, that becomes more and more a reality. But it's like immediately it's the everything's shut down because I mean, this is classic New Age stuff where just revert to the ego. It's your ego. your ego. So it can't possibly be an issue outside of here. What if there's a different form of it? What if it's like a lesser form? What if it's a more contained form within the realms that this whole system is a part of? I mean, it's just so easy to throw things away and just toss them to the wind by saying, "Oh, it's an ego thing, and it's an Earth human body thing."
I think that this is another example in a weird way. It's also again a position of authority, because I think she's trying to say like, you're just feeling that way because you're in the flesh. And I again, I relate to that so much. It's not even funny, but she's thinking of it in the wrong way. She's kind of like saying, trust me, I've seen the holiest of the holies and the holies. So you're scared, you're thinking you're tricked because you're in the flesh. Like you can't understand what
Yeah,
we
the
understood.
disconnect. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I see this in every single, in myself. When I watch my old video, I'm just like, ugh, like I just pure, just still drunk off Love Bombed.
Yeah, but that's where you were in the moment, man.
Yeah. And that's what I see when I hear her saying that too. It's just like a position of authority. You know, you guys are stuck in the flesh. You didn't see what I saw.
Yeah. So how, you don't have a right to say anything.
That's what it feels like a little bit. Yeah.
Maybe going a little too far.
I think this is gonna be the theme. It's just gonna be a lot of, trust me, we saw it, this position of authority, and that's how strong the connection is, the love bombing and everything, the whole magic show is. It's like there's no comparison. There isn't. Like I've always tried to explain this realm as kind of like it's a dull dream, like just a faded dream. And it's dull, it's dark, it's dingy compared to like, just something that's I can't even put it into words, like I said.
Yeah, no,
So
thank you. No, I mean I think that makes perfect sense. I mean, we're just all right, we'll continue, but yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
So looking at the word trick, it is manipulated, lied, control. And if we look at it, we learned about all of this on Earth. Each one of us, at least once in their life, they have experienced that, or they did that to somebody. And I think this person is implying that it is all of these actions are still applicable on the other side, that they still exist on the other side. However, from what I've experienced, our core was pure consciousness, and it was just pure love, unconditional love, no judgment at all. And at that pure consciousness, we are so magnificent, so powerful, so transparent that we are just one. And we feel each other. We don't need words. So you feel the tree, you feel the other soul, you feel everything before they say anything, before they direct the message, before they form the message. And at that level of transparency, you just feel the other soul and what they're saying, what they're trying to say, their concerns, their feelings, their intentions, their pure love. That the tricking, manipulating, controlling doesn't exist there, because it is what comes from ego. And what's out there is just the pure love. And love is not controlling. Love is freeing. And love is forgiving. And love is compassionate. And love is accepting. Love is understanding. Love is patience. Love is trust. And that's what we are. So I don't, at least from my own experience, I know that I wasn't tricked. And I don't believe that we can be tricked, because we are the universe experiencing ourselves through these physical human experiences. We are trying to expand our consciousness. And I don't think we trick ourselves to come here. And by this question, what I'm imagining is this person has this mindset of that there is someone who is much more powerful than you, that's much more stronger than you, who can trick you to come here. Let's say that's the case. If that being that is more stronger and much more powerful than you did trick you to come here, which is the result, why didn't that being take your free will of questioning things?
Okay, so this one's a big one for me, and I may, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna rewind it just a little bit because it's there's a lot to unpack just in this part, because it's always the misconceptions about what is discussed here, and at least, well, I can only speak for myself, right? And loosely for Wayne and Dan, but generally we kind of fall under the same umbrella with things. But let's just rewind just a little bit. I think it's really, really important to go through this.
Person has this mindset of that there is someone who is much more powerful than you. That
Okay, so I don't for a minute think that these beings are more powerful than us, okay? I think what happens is we come here, and remember, we're involved in their system. I think a big giant AI type of system is behind all of this, but behind that are actual creator beings just like you and I with the same types of powers, and they are just have a very sick and twisted mentality, right? Whether they have done this before in other realms, or maybe they like a physical existence, just like, I mean, there are enough out there, even while you're here today, that like the Earth experience. They love the human material experience. That's just who they are. And then you have other beings who like to like a material existence, or like to prey on individuals or prey on other creator beings. Who knows exactly how it's all going, but that does not mean at all that they are more powerful than any of us. I don't believe that. I just don't. I think we're all creator beings and we're capable of incredible things, but we are still in their meat suits, inside their realm, inside their overall matrix system, and there are limitations that come with that. And you know, it just drives me nuts that, you know, it's just automatically assumed that like they have this massive amount of power, because I don't. They're clowns. Everything is based on illusion. And yeah, I know maybe it's easy for me to sit here and say this, but I'm not trying to at all minimize what's going on here. But what I'm trying to do is say, hey, look, we are really on an equal playing field, but how our discernment works outside of here, what others kind of enjoy or want to push on others creator beings, is up for debate. Who knows? But that doesn't mean, again, that deception isn't involved either. I mean, just because you're a creator being doesn't mean that you can't be deceptive, right? It doesn't mean that you can't have ulterior motives and want to set up some big crazy AI system, or you know, and pull puppet strings for those that will fall into this system. You have any thoughts on that, Harold?
I just keep reverting back to the fact that it's just they're just speaking from a position of authority. All three of them. Well, I haven't heard the gentleman speak too much, but I just know where this is going to go. And it's they overall experienced the like I said, the big love bomb, the big show. And then when they get compressed into these bodies, they're just like, no, trust me, it's way crazier. Trust me, like, I know what it's like out there. I felt the trust. I felt this and that. But the most interesting thing so far out of this girl here and Melissa, they both said, not saying, they aren't completely denying that it's a possibility. And I find that really interesting too.
Me too.
So I would love to like talk to them and just say, hey, I'm one of you, so let's just talk a little bit.
That'd be cool. Have you ever tried to reach out to Melissa?
No, I haven't. I should though.
She might have you on.
Yeah, that would be an interesting talk for sure, because I want to just be like, you know, for me, it wasn't the only one thing that helped in my experience to make me start raising questions was the amount of fear I felt before I was born.
Sure.
And that always stuck with me right throughout my whole life. And then of course being here, like the signs are everywhere. Like it's just the evidence is everywhere. It's in everything. It's literally the system itself. It's everything you see with your eyes. It's right there. So I want to ask them, like, do you guys not research anything? Are you know, it just anyways.
Yeah, I mean the research aspect of it's tough, right? Because just like we talk about with NDEers, like the bulk who have experiences have the love and light type experience. They come back and there is a whole industry ready and waiting for them.
Yeah.
And even with pre-birth, it doesn't matter what it is. All of these kind of quote unquote, outside the box, end quote, spiritual topics, they almost always funnel into the new age. And if it's not the new age and it's funneling into some cult type thing or something really wacky where it's still robbing them of their sovereignty or critical thinking abilities. It's sad. It really is. So, I mean, I really get how, if you have an experience and you can come back here or be born here and then question things later like you did or throughout your life as you did, then I could see how easy it is to get lost. I mean, doesn't even, I don't think about it for a minute because or question it for a minute because it's ready and waiting for them. Just like religions and all the programming, like you said, it's everywhere.
It's like it's the safety blanket. Why take off the blanket when it's like you don't have any motivation to, because like when you die, you're going to be welcomed with open arms and feel all that amazing, love and music and visuals and all that overwhelming stuff. So why take off the blanket? Why look any further? And that's just the vibe I get from 99% of experiencers that I've seen so far.
And I mean, it just makes functioning through life and day to day easier. And of course,
absolutely.
The flaw that is embedded in the human experience, which is cognitive dissonance. I mean, it's it's big.
Yep. Like the simple question, like, do you ever ask yourself, like, what in the absolute F is the point of all of this shit?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the learning?
Yeah. Oh, they talk about that. Wait till we get to that part.
Okay.
All right.
That's much more stronger than you, who can trick you to come here. Let's say that's the case. If that being that is more stronger and much more powerful than you did trick you to come here, which is the result.
All right, I'm sorry. I do have to stop. I'm sorry, guys. I have to pause it here because this goes to the whole look. I think I don't necessarily feel at least at all inside of me, and I know everyone has their opinion on this, but I don't feel that we were tricked initially into coming here into the overall matrix system. That's not just Earth. It's just the system itself, right? I mean, I think there are, just like anything that we do, there are terms of service before we kind of enter here. And it's like, okay, part of the deal is you're going to lose yourself. You're going to experience what it's like to die versus being, an everlasting being, creator being. Like you're going to be able to experience what it's like to be limited. And then once you become a cog in the wheel of this mess, then the trickery is just full steam ahead. So everyone seems to think that I keep saying like, oh, you're blind, you're blindly consenting lifetime after lifetime. Yeah, you're being tricked once you're here, once you're in here. But I think initially, when you're kind of signing the contract, for lack of a better term, then that's it. I mean, you're fully aware. It's like, hey, it's like you're signing up for an experience. Like you're waiving your rights away, just like you would for any sort of contract. That, you know, like, hey, you can't sue this company or this individual, or like if you fall off a roller coaster and something like that, and it's not whatever the case may be.
It's hard to conceptualize anything like outside of this system. That's what they're assuming.
Yeah.
But I resonate so much with what you just said, because I've always felt that. Again, I do believe that we are just these eternal spirits, and we were at some kind of crazy cosmic circus, and then we saw, oh, there's Earth. That's what happens when you do that. All right, I guess I'm an eternal being. Nothing could destroy me. I guess I'll try it for a couple Jeffreys.
Yeah, and then once you're here,
or I mean, you're lost in the sauce, right?
Yeah.
You gotta work your way out. I resonate with that big time. I really do. And it's hard for them to.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. Sorry, Mark.
No,
I was just gonna say.
please.
I was gonna repeat myself and just say it's just hard for anyone. I've noticed, even people in the community, it's hard for them to conceptualize anything outside the matrix. They're like, how do you? That's talking about the whole consent thing too. Like, how could you, I'm a sovereign being. I would never consent to something like this. I'm like, you don't really know.
No.
But
none of us do.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like the one thing that really irks me is like, look, the topic of the soul trap is negative inherently. I get that. I mean, it's not an easy thing to stomach, and we all have crap going on in our lives, or we've all have experienced varying levels of insane suffering and things like that. So I get it. I get everyone's kind of in a different mindset, but regardless of how you feel, I'm just going to say that we're all creator beings here. We're all capable of amazing things, and you can prove some of this to yourself when going outside of the body. Now, are you proving this inside the matrix? Sure, but maybe there are situations where you're not. Who knows? But there's still some sort of loose connection there. It's tough to say, but do you really want to come to this information and then feel powerless? I mean, that's what really is just weird to me. It's like the whole consent thing. We come here and do our thing, and I think we initially consent, and then we get wrapped up in the sensory experience, the attachments, and on and on and on. But I mean, do you really want to minimize yourself to give this and the whole overall matrix system power? That's exactly what it wants. And let me just say this, like, if we aren't powerful creator beings and have the ability to get out of situations and take the sovereign path and liberate ourselves and all that, well, guess what? We're all fucked.
It's over.
I mean, so would you rather stay in that mindset? It's ridiculous. But there are some that are so scarred and so affected and so angry and mad and upset, and I get that, but there comes a point where you kind of gotta get over that. Yeah,
you just gotta. Yeah. They just have to ask themselves, like, real simply, do you remember? Yes or no? Do you remember? If you don't, then you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
you really don't. So just stop talking from a place of authority. We just don't know.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
Yeah. So why not take the brute force, sovereign path? I mean,
right. Well, even that
can't hurt.
That too, and all the evidence is in our favor. This is clear from if you guys listen to a lot of Mark's videos, a lot of the evidence is right here. A lot of it is pointing to consent.
It is. I mean,
so anyways.
No, I mean, it's just sometimes it's weird because there's like those who maybe only seen a few videos and and say, I would never agree to this and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, no, anyone in their right mind wouldn't agree to this.
Right.
But, I mean, what about
Says
what
the fleshy human.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but what happened to what happened when we initially came in here? What happened to, all these relationships that we build? These soul groups and who knows what our previous lives were like? Maybe we were loving it. Who the heck knows?
Yep.
Like, oh yeah, give me another go. Let's go. Throw that deception right on me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. The whole thing comes down to the big weapon, and that's the memory wipe. The veil of forgetfulness. It's just that is where that's the big playing card right there.
Yeah. Thanks, Harold.
Why didn't that being take your free will of questioning things? Even asking this question is a proof that you have the free will to question. And if that being is that powerful, or God, or whoever you want to call it, they would have taken that away from you. Why would they go all the way through the tricking and you coming here, asking that question? That's the question I have in my mind. Like, why would that be that way? So I don't believe that you can be tricked, because even the question that you are asking here is the proof that you have the free will to ask questions and question everything. And that is the evidence of that you have love, which is love is the freeing. Love is freedom. Freedom means you have the free will to do whatever you want, to ask questions, to be whoever you want, to have any experience you want. Even if it's this question itself, which is a funny question for me. And I did have this, because I used to astral travel a lot and get out of my body a lot. And I've met beings and I used to ask them, like, I used to get scared a lot at first, but then I did ask once, why would they scaring me in the past? Because I would see them in my room in the corner, or working on my body, or saying things like questioning or asking me things, and I would be frightened. So I used to ask them, why was that happening? Why were you scaring me? And then they explained that it wasn't them scaring me, but it was me, myself, and my state of being. The fearful state of being
I don't mean to laugh,
you
but
completely.
that is funny.
I'm sorry. You want to add anything?
No, I just had the same reaction you did. I just thought that was kind of silly. Yeah, it just sounded like that typical Matrix effery,
Up front and center.
Yeah. Oh, it was you. It was you. It's your inner turmoil, It's like,
How dare you?
I wonder if she questions that. Like, was it really you? Do you think that was you?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to scare yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the weird thing is she talks about, I think she talks about seeing the entities at the bed and all that stuff. And I mean, it's like, oh, well, it's just you. It's just you the whole time.
Yeah, it wasn't us. Okay.
Wasn't the deception system at all. I mean, look, some of it obviously is us. That does seem clear to some extent, but it's not all us. I mean, the system takes information pertaining to us and customizes it and launches it back at us and uses it against us to manipulate us.
Yep. Just to generate the loosh and to keep you recycling here. That's why. They're just feeding off of us.
For sure. Unfortunately.
That you don't perceive anything or anybody in front of you for who they are, but you filter them from your perception. For those who say that they have been tricked, I don't know. It's coming from their experience. I wouldn't judge, and I wouldn't say that they're right or wrong, because I don't
That's
know.
really
I
nice.
can't tell.
Yeah.
What if there is a purpose behind of that mindset behind of that perception they have? What if for, the reason they remember it because they thought they have been tricked? What if it was the only solution for them to keep that memory of the afterlife, or for them to become more conscious in this human life? What if that is the case? And I would always leave an open-ended questions and see, try to expand and, zoom out the questions and see from each perspective, rather than jump to the conclusion like, oh yes, this person was tricked, this person was not tricked. So yeah, I can't tell that. But for myself, I wasn't tricked. For sure, I wasn't tricked. And although I have gone through challenges in life, I am very, very happy I have gone through them, because of the moment now I am experiencing, and I understood the lessons in each of the challenges I had. So, and I just hope that those people who think they've been tricked, they can enjoy without being attached to that word of being tricked and manipulated and controlled to come here.
Okay, and I think in many senses, like what she's saying is important, because you can't let this information, as difficult as it is, you can't let it eat you alive. It can't be your every waking minute be your thought, like 24/7. Like, you still got to enjoy yourself. Remember, it's your last time. Have fun, enjoy yourself. Whatever you enjoy, do it. I mean,
she has like this unwavering confidence that I resonate with. It's just like, even though she might not fully, be accepting of what we're talking about, and at the end of the day, she's going to be fine, just like all of us. Eventually, I just, man, I don't worry about it anymore. I mean, sometimes, like I said, I have my weak moments where I'm like, sometimes I get a little freaked out when I'm here. I'm like, I'm alive right now. I'm here. I'm in the trenches, but but a lot of times I just have like, I just know we're all gonna be good at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, and you just gotta make the best of it while you're here. I mean, I just wish I know there's a lot of well, not a lot, but there's a number of you out there who are having difficult times, and some maybe just are coming to this information and trying to wrestle with it, and but like, once you kind of get over that hump, then it's like, hey, okay, let me go out, do my thing, let me enjoy myself, whatever it is. Like, I just came back from a week-long camping trip, and nature heals, right? I mean, that's one of my go-to things. And find what works for you, that helps you kind of get through the day-to-day, whatever the hell it is. But do you really want to let this place win? Don't let it win. Don't let it loosh the hell out of you. Don't let it suck your essence away just because or have a good idea as to what's going on with this whole situation. That's no way to live. It really isn't.
No. Well said.
And fully enjoy the human experience while they're here, because what else you can do? Yeah, that's all for me, Christian.
Yeah, thank you. That was beautiful. So I definitely agree with both of you from my experience. And again, I agree. I can also only speak from my own experience. Deception is something we learn on Earth while we are in the non-native experience of separation. So here we're in a place where we don't communicate in a pure way. We don't have that full telepathic access that is natural to us. In other states of being, it's natural to have that full telepathy and to have, I like the word transparency that RK used. We have that full transparency. And it is the most natural thing. And in that transparency, there is full knowing. And full knowing is totally self-evident when you are there. So the exchange with others is
You want to say something, Harold?
No, I just reacting to what he was saying. It's self-evident, and I don't know about that.
Neither do I.
It's easy. It's easy to say when you're in it, and it's just comparing apples to oranges. He's experienced something unbelievable. You can't even put it into words. They call it transparency, but it's even bigger than that. It's huge, and it's hard for people to conceptualize anything outside of even that, because that's how big it is, right? It's so powerful, it's so all-knowing and all that. It's hard to conceptualize anything outside of that system, so yeah.
Yeah, man. It's the way it all functions is nothing short of amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a part of you and you're a part of them, and you feel it and you know it. And so the exchange, if there was deception, or there couldn't be deception, I mean, but if there was even an attempt, you would know it, because the intent would be seen and thought would be seen. Now, in my case, I also chose this life intentionally, and I also feel very confident I was not tricked. I had full knowledge of what I was doing and what I was choosing and why, and all the details of the.
Okay, and just to make sure this is out there, Christian had reservations over and over and over again. Like, but his thought process is that he wanted to be like whoever, like similar to what you were dealing with, Harold, like whoever was the entities that were kind of blasting the love and all that stuff. He wanted to be like them. And if I recall, I think part of him evolving spiritually, it would help him by going to Earth.
Man, that definitely rings a bell for me, for sure. Yeah. Like, I think I experienced the same thing. It's not something I could actually say I directly remember, but I just kind of, I guess, resonate with that.
Your gut. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when you're yeah. It's just when you're trying to tell them, like, no, that's what he was doing. He was like saying he doesn't want to do this. He would rather just hang out with you guys and send other people down, probably. Yeah. Like, I don't want to go there. Like, do you know, does he ever describe being able to see the realm?
It's been so long, I don't recall, but I am going to review his case, because I did it, I don't know, like 2-3 years back, and there are a few things that kind of stood out that I'd like to go over again. But for some reason, I think he talked about kind of like the Greek architecture in the water, perhaps, but I could be wrong. I mean, I mix up experiencer cases all the time, so don't quote me on that by any means.
Mm-hmm. It would just be interesting because he was fighting it, right? But Melissa did not. And again, for the other girl, I don't know what her name is. I would love
Melissa.
I'm gonna go back and listen to their stories and see, because if they're feeling like, oh, I wasn't tricked and all that, and I would love to see if they actually saw where they were going. I think that's makes a big difference. Like this guy, he was avoiding it probably because he just knew what this place is, Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. Like he knew deep down, like, no, like he's been in there before. Like he just knew, because the transparency thing, right? He knew, I think, how shitty it was going to be.
Yeah, man. It's yeah, I don't like, I remember Christian saying something like he knew it was going to be difficult, or it wasn't going to be easy, or something like that, but that's about the extent of what I remember, unfortunately.
And you got to think, like, even knowing if something's going to be difficult, is that really going to stop you?
Yeah.
Right? How difficult are we talking to make you not want to go?
Especially,
like, think about that.
Yeah, especially when you're in a different body. Like, for let's just say body. I mean, even though it's human versus whatever, but or we can call it astral body, whatever the case may be, where you don't have the pain, you don't have the suffering, you don't have all of the BS that comes with the material world. I think it's much easier to fall into all of this when not having to deal with it.
Yeah. Yep.
Life that I was reviewing and why. And I had full connection with my guides, and they understood me very deeply. And it was all up to me. And it was all done from a vantage point that was much higher than the human personality's vantage point. And also, very importantly, I think it's really important to add that I knew that my choice to incarnate, my choice to surrender to the veil, as we call it, had to be intentional. And it had to be intentional because the soul is a part of the whole. It's a part of source. It's sovereign unto itself. So the only way that it can be bound, we're not actually bound, just feels like we are. The only way that we can be bound is to surrender ourselves into the binding. There is no greater power than the sovereignty of the soul, because it's what is.
Did you want to add anything, Harold?
I think that was an admission of consent to me. That seems like to be able to do this, you have to consent to it because you're a sovereign being. So that's just how I interpreted that. I don't know about you.
Yeah, absolutely. No. And I mean, and that kind of comes across in many, not just pre-birth experiencers, but the life between lives, in some of the past life regressions, where there's some memories, like where they tap into death and rebirth and things like that. But yeah, I mean, but I think like the biggest issue is if you're if you've already kind of interacted and dealt with the whole matrix system, it becomes close, in my opinion, close to impossible to kind of back out of it. It doesn't mean you can't, but I think because of how everything is so, the whole illusion is just blasting in front of your face, up, down, left, and right, that it becomes very difficult. It really seems like a conveyor belt. Like, okay, you die, you go to the light, or you go down the tunnel, you go to the light, you get the life review, blah, blah, and then, you need to work on this, you need to do that, you did this wrong, you did this wrong, you did this right, blah, blah. Then you may have some chill time to relax, and then you may do the whole soul classes thing and deal with the council and your quote-unquote ascended masters, teachers, blah, blah. And then you kind of reach a point where, okay, they tap on you and say, okay, it's time to go back. We really need you now, or Earth needs you, or whatever the litany of excuses are. And then it just becomes more and more difficult, if not impossible, to kind of resist that. I think because everything is kind of so slowed down here, and because it's so foreign, that is why we are able to kind of connect and see the BS of this whole situation. But that's kind of my opinion.
Yep. Agreed.
I just don't think it's easy to leave once you're still within the system and buying into the illusion, hook, line, and sinker, regardless of whether you want to go back or not. There's some appeal there.
And you just don't even know who you are. You have forgotten what you are when you're in the system. When my memory first began, I didn't know who or what I was. I was just experiencing. I was going through things in this place, and I was being bombarded by everything you could possibly imagine. Just an infinite stream of knowledge, like, surging through my head, and then love, and then all that stuff was happening. And I didn't know who or where. I don't know where I began. That's where I began in my mind, right? Was that moment when I just became conscious. I was looking down at myself, and I was, if you hear my story, I was shifting into like an old body, a young body, a teenage body, like back and forth, like morphing. And, you don't even know who you are. You're just experiencing. So
yeah, and that's
of course, that's how
issue.
Yeah, it is, because that's how you just keep repeating the same mistake over and over again, because the memory wipe.
Damn pesky memory wipe.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing that is. It's the substance of beingness, of creation itself. And so, from that vantage point, it sees all and knows all, and it makes the choice completely voluntarily. And I believe that's why in my pre-birth experience, both times that I recall surrendering to a veil in a physical life, my surrender, my free will allowing was absolutely necessary. And that choice was done from a place of total seeing and knowing. But then once we're here and once we're wrapped in the experience of the human condition and all the limitations, we learn many things. We learn how to experience the world in a non-native state of separation. And in this non-native state of separation, we don't experience each other's thoughts commonly. We don't feel each other's feelings commonly. I mean, we still do on some level, but it's not like a routine, common moment to moment thing. And so we think that like our thoughts are private, our internal experience is private. And, and then we can't even feel that the people outside of us are even a part of us anymore. So deception is just part of what has arisen from, our choice making here in this context. But then once we're here, because we have no memory of the higher context, we assume that things that are true here must be true in the higher systems. We try to look up and out, you could say. We try to impose what we learned on Earth onto the rest of the picture. But we can't do that, because this is the non-fundamental state of being. It's metaphorically like if you logged into a video game and then thought you were the video game character and tried to understand all of reality from the perspective of the video game character. It wouldn't really make sense.
That's an awesome analogy.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
That's a good one. And the video game is an 8-bit.
Yeah.
It's Mario, the first Mario, or Atari versus virtual reality. Thank you, Christian. I'm going to use that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Character is under non-native limitations. That's how it is being human. We're under a non-native set of limitations. And then because it's all we remember, we assume that all of reality is captured by those limitations, and it's not. Even things like linear time and discrete location, these things that seem super obvious to us are not fundamental limitations. They're not real. So deception is one of those things we learn on Earth, and because of our fear, we're afraid of it. And so then we're afraid, well, maybe this is how it is in the big picture. We tend to believe about our reality, and then whatever we believe about it, we put that interpretation upon our physical reality, and then we assume that the larger context is just kind of like the physical reality, but maybe bigger, and we want to impose that same understanding on it. But that can't truly be done. In the higher states of being, there is, and I love the word that Arki used, there's this beautiful transparency between us all. It is the natural state of being, because we are all connected. We're all one. And my goodness, I miss it. Melissa and I were talking about this before we started recording tonight, how it's just so alien on Earth to not feel that in a full conscious way all the time. But anyway, in higher systems, feeling that connectedness and that transparency is the natural state. And
what if that connection is a false connection? Something like that. Really, I've racked my head around ever since I spoke with Lindley. He's a longtime listener to the channel, and he says, all the, we sit here and assume time doesn't exist on the other side, or within the matrix, but what if there is some small semblance of time? Not necessarily outside of this matrix, but what if time exists in some form within the overall matrix system? That would really throw a wrench in a lot of things. And, I'm not saying at all that, it is or isn't, but it's something that really needs to be debated and or at least not debated, but considered, because we can't really prove it, right? But what if there's like some sort of minor time component within the other realms in the overall matrix system, then that would potentially pose a big issue for all of us. Not, at least in terms of how we interpret, time doesn't exist, blah, blah, blah. What if it's just altered? What if it's altered? What if perception of what time may feel like or be like is altered because of the functionality of the system? You ever thought of that one, Harold?
Oh yeah, I often think about the whole time thing. And it's just it's almost really it's again we're working on Atari graphics, okay? It's something that we can't really understand. I come from, the place where, when I was observing it, time didn't exist. I can choose the past, present, or future. Like, I could pick that timeline for my experience. So that's as far as it goes for me. If I try to start thinking about it, and then again, that's like in that show, The Good Place. They describe eternity as a Jeffrey, and they draw it. They show you what it looks like, and it's just a big scribble. That's what I think about it. It's just there's no way we'll ever be able to understand it.
Yeah, no, that's really well
No way.
said. Yeah, A Good Place is, in my opinion, a must see for anyone who has the time. It's a series, and it spits mad truths. Just wanted to give a quick hello to Atman and Renstar over on Odyssey. Hope you're doing well over there, and let's continue.
In that state, everything that the other being is experiencing, feeling, thinking is totally known and seen, and it's seen for what it is, and it's okay that it is what it is. And in that atmosphere, in that context, there, in my experience at least, there is no room for deception, because everything is plainly seen out on the table and everything is felt. So I feel confident, at least for myself. Again, I agree, I can't speak for anybody else's experience, but I feel confident that deception is not possible. That's a locally learned earth-based assumption. And from that state of being, it's self-evident what is, and I do not feel it's possible to be deceived into a physical incarnation.
Thank you so much, both.
That's faith.
Yeah.
It's faith, and that's how they get us in religion too. Faith.
Yeah.
That's
Believe.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's hard to argue that when people speak from a position of authority, man. It's I get it though. I'm not talking crap about him. I think I think all these people are really nice people.
Yeah. They mean well. They don't.
Yeah. But it's just, again, it's just talking from a position of authority at the end of the day. And I would love to talk to these guys and just be like, do you do any searching besides like just banking off your experience? Like, do you research things like multiple NDEs and pre-births and just looking in front of you like that, just the evidence? Like, this is not something you could just talk about in a paragraph. Like, this is a lifelong, from beginning to when I was born till now, of observing everything around me with a microscope. And I'm like, it all makes sense when you actually start to put the pieces together, that it's very much possible. It's not I don't like that you could say that it's not possible to be deceived, because I do think it's extremely possible to be deceived, especially because you don't remember your past lives. You don't remember. You've been memory wiped, period. There's a veil of forgetfulness here. You know that. You agreed to it. You said it yourself. You agreed. So, there is a layer of deception going on here.
Yeah, it exists right here, but they'll throw it away because it's not as clear cut in a different body just outside of here. But it comes from the system that is giving us this. And like you said, looking at the all you got to do is just freaking pay attention, even just a little bit. And you see how it just goes on and on and on. And it exposes itself very clearly.
Yep. Do research. They need to look, take the safety blanket off and just read stuff. Go look. It's there in front of your face. Everywhere you turn. It's, you have to be willing to, that's the hardest part. If they were to accept even for a fraction of a second that that's a possibility, that comfort and love that they felt is gone. And then that's like, it's horrible, man. Like, trust me, when I started, like, you know, connecting with all you guys, I was just like, oh man, the feeling, it sucks. That's what's been keeping me kind of chill. You know, I've been kind of like, all right, this place sucks ass, but at least I know I don't have to suffer forever. You know, I'm going to go to a better place because I've been there. And once you take that away, what's next? It's like, it's a jolt to the ego. It's trust issues, man.
Sure.
You know,
sure. Big time trust issues. Yeah.
Ego and in all sense of the word ego, like it's a shock to the ego. Like, dang, I got tricked. Like, I don't like that. I hate being deceived by people and things and anything. So they're, you know.
Yeah, it's not easy, man. Not easy. And it's so massive here. Massive. But, you know, you had such a powerful, you know, wild experience that sticks with you. Like, yeah, I mean, you've had to walk through this experience different than most of us.
Yeah. Yep. It's not easy. And then hearing them, they're like, you know, hearing them talk, it always just brings all those feelings back again. It's like, oh man, I'm turning my back on them. They're gonna be upset, and then they're gonna be like, you gotta start from zero, or, you know, these thoughts kind of cross my mind. But you know, again, at the end of, even with all the doubts and all that, I don't worry about it. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah, there you go. That's the way to go. I mean, you know, I mean, like you said, you know, you still have off days here and there or something, but that's the way life is. But just the key thing is to not let it eat you completely. That's all.
Yep.
Both of you 100% agree with everything that you said. And something else came to me while you guys were talking that I thought I might just add. Because we're all like in agreement that deception is impossible on the other side, or whatever we want to call it. But then I get a lot of comments from people who tell me things like, well, I remember I did not want to come here and my guides grabbed me and pushed me in and told me, you have to do this, you signed up for it, or something like that. And one thought that I have about that is that I've read both of Michael Newton's books and some of Dolores Cannon's books, and they're both between life regressionists. And what we all have a memory of to some extent, or Mark, I know, Christian, you do, is planning your life.
Yeah, please do.
Do you think she's talking about me?
Oh, it's so funny because I wasn't sure. I thought she was talking about me in some ways too.
I think she's talking about my experience specifically. I'm not sure.
All right, hold on. Then let's rewind a little bit. What do you think about a minute? Should I back it up?
Like 30 seconds maybe? I'm not sure.
Let's see.
I'm not sure.
I hate this player. Let's see. Hopefully, let's try this.
Into a physical incarnation.
Thank you so much, both of you. 100% agree with everything that you said. And something else came to me while you guys were talking that I thought I might just add. Because we're all like in agreement that deception is impossible on the other side, or whatever we want to call it. But then I get a lot of comments from people who tell me things like, well, I remember I did not want to come here and my guides grabbed me and pushed me in and told me, you have to do this, you signed up for it, or something like that. And one thought that I have about that is that I've read a lot of I've read both of Michael Newton's books and some of Dolores Cannon's books, and they're both between life regressionists. And what we all have a memory of to some extent, or I know, Christian, you do, is planning your life.
Okay, so what do you think?
I think it's possible, because I would love to know what example who she's talking about, but I kind of feel like she might be talking about my experience.
Well, you were kind of like I don't know, like they were kind of bullying you, right? I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yes, just like urging and nudging and like the sense of urgency, basically.
Gotta do it.
Yeah. And oh man, I don't want to go too far into this, but we could talk about it later. But it's about the consent thing, and I went back and listened to my video because somebody else made a response video to mine, and I did use the words. I did say I had no choice. I had no choice. I said that twice, and what people don't realize is that video was like a tongue in cheek. Like I was just speaking from my heart from beginning to end. I didn't put any thought into that video whatsoever. And and language is a weird thing, right? And unfortunately, I use those words, but it wasn't like I had no choice. I had no choice. Like, it was like I was trying to describe the feeling that I was getting. Like, they were urging me and telling me to hurry up. It's time. Hurry up.
Yeah,
it's
that's
time.
what I remember.
Right. But that's where I think the whole thing started. Why people keep using that video for an example of lack of consent is because I said that, but that's not what I meant. And I think that's what was kind of saying right now, but like a little bit exaggerated. But I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think she might be talking about my video. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they, Melissa has used the term forced many times, and I've tried kind of correcting her over and over, saying, look, I'm not talking about force. Like, you could be deceived, you can be taken for a ride, or however you want to frame it. And there's always this urgency that seems to be involved with all this. Like, okay, come on. Gotta go.
Yeah.
So maybe maybe it feels like forced, but at the same time, I'll kind of rewind back to what we were talking about earlier, where you're so far along in the conveyor belt of deception that, like, you're right at the edge where they're raring and ready to get you down there. And they make you, they seem to have all sorts of tricks that they can kind of cast down and get you or I mean, we're all here, so we've clearly fallen for some BS in some form, but we'd also never hear about someone who kind of stood up for themselves and said, no, I'm not going, I'm not doing it, blah, blah. But where would they kind of shuffle off to, even if there was some sort of break, right? Like, where they'd be okay, well, you don't have to go today or tomorrow or next week, okay, or just they'll give them some line of BS where, like, oh, well, we'll just leave you alone in this and that, but then they'll always come back. That's kind of how I look at all this. I'm not saying that's how it happens, but that's kind of how I envision all this. It's like they don't really necessarily need to worry about getting you down here as long as you get down here at some point.
Eventually. Yeah.
And they talk about time and all that stuff later, and how it may need to be rushed for a certain reason, but that's besides the point. But go ahead.
Yeah, I just feel like if I was forced, I would know, man. Like, that would be, how scary would that be?
Yeah, that would be very scary.
If you are forced and you're just like, no, stop. That's like the word. That's like nightmare fuel. That's not what it was like, and I wouldn't know the difference. Being forced, that's horrendous, man.
Yeah,
so
I think,
anyways,
like Uni says, lured, seduced. I
Mhm.
really think it all comes down to us kind of not knowing any better, not knowing any
Yeah.
different. And it's kind of like, you know, the super AI computer or whatever you want to call it kind of reaches a point where it's like, okay, it is Harold's time to get his ass down there. Like, let's
Yeah.
go. Like, you know, roll out all the stops. You know, we
Yep.
got to keep the numbers going or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
And, you know, I'll say over and over and over again, like, if we didn't put ourselves in that position in the first place or fall for the bait, so to say, then there'd be nothing to worry about. Or at least we can test the waters and see what the hell happens.
Yep. It's a really good tactic. Exactly. Test the waters is a really good tactic. That's why they say, like, if you're scared to swim, like, just, you know, just jump in. And, or if you're trying to teach a dog to swim, you just have him jump in. It's you just, you know, it's like being rushed out of the door when you're trying to leave somewhere. You know, you know, you're trying to get your things, but someone's like, come on, we gotta go, let's go. And you just end up going. And it's like, it's a good tactic. It's just a way to get you to cave in and go and give your consent.
Yeah.
And I fully believe that, because no matter what I did, I consented. You can hear it multiple times in the video. I chose my life. I chose this. I chose to get in the water. I got in the water. I did that. I'm the one that, at the end of the day, made the choice to come.
Do you feel though that even though like you picked your life and all that stuff, like do you feel that a lot of that was still prearranged?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I don't know. It doesn't. If it is, you're given the illusion that you have the choice. You know, because again, I could have chose between different lives. Like I said, I could have been rich or super poor, and the poor being like, you know, poor and being all the worst things of society, ugly, bad, and you know, all that stuff is more noble than being like rich and handsome and all those things. So I feel like I had the ability to choose for sure.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add before we move along?
No.
All right, thank you.
And then I think what might happen is, as you're getting to that point where it's time for you to go, and this comes out in the books a lot, Michael Newton's book specifically, that it is kind of like okay, you have to go, now it's time. Yep. And at that point, once you're going in, you are starting to go under the veil and you're not remembering things as clearly, but the life has already been set up. And if you don't go, it's not like, you know, it's going to be horrible, you're going to mess up the big plan or something, but there could be ramifications for people that you've made agreements with. So that's one explanation for maybe
ramifications, yet time doesn't exist. I mean, I don't know, like the whole ramifications, like that's not your problem or anyone's problem before they come down here. It's like, oh, well, if there's ramifications, so what? You know, I mean, but that seems more like a manipulation tactic than anything else. Like, oh, well, you know, if you don't go down there right now and, you know, get your ass moving and pick out your life script and all that stuff, then, well, you know, a bunch of evil is going to happen to those that you care about, or this specific individual, or something's going to be thrown off that's a negative result because you didn't act in the accordance of the Matrix deception, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe why people are remembering that message right before they go in.
Yeah, I'll make a quick comment to that. So I feel that okay, this is super hard to talk about. I feel that the human personality portion of the self is formed prior to the physical experience. Mm-hmm. It has to do with the veiling. And so once there is a subset of the self, I call it the personality portion of the self, that personality experiences reality from its own perspective and may be nudged to continue down the path that the higher self has signed up for that portion of itself. And now that makes it sound like two different selves, and it's really just one self. But But like, for instance, here as the human personality, when people have near-death experiences, sometimes they'll begin to go back and a guide will say, oh, wait, no, it's not time yet. I don't feel it's that dissimilar, because the personality portion of the self doesn't have full visibility. It may not even remember what it has agreed to participate in. In a sense, every day that we get up in the morning and go about our day and eat our breakfast, we are that unconscious, we've signed up to play this role and have this perspective. And every day that we do that from this veiled perspective is a part of that original commitment. So whether that commitment is expressed here in a physical way or in certain non-physical experiences, I don't see a huge difference, because I feel that the physical and non-physical experiences, there doesn't need to be a huge distinction between them. I feel like sometimes the personality needs a nudge and we get those.
Thank you, Christian. Are we ready to move on to questions?
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take a break. We've been going for a little over an hour and a half, I believe. So we're going to take a break and be back here in about 5.5, 6 minutes. Hang in there, my friends, and I appreciate you all hanging out with us tonight, and hope you're getting some valuable information out of this discussion. And want to thank Harold again for joining us tonight, and we'll see you back here soon. Thank you so much. Okay, we are back, my friends. Thank you for your patience. Sorry about the delay there. Harold, just so you know, I'm going to drop a message in the chat on Melon there in about a minute or so. And welcome back, everybody. Before we move along, I just want to remind anyone who's a member of the Last Timers Club on Odyssey or YouTube, tomorrow, March 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern is our monthly members live stream. So perhaps see some of you then. And also have an Instagram, a Twitter, Facebook, and a Twitch where I do Truth in Gaming. Once in a while, it's very casual, but feel free to sign up. I also have an email list if you'd like to keep in touch with the channel, and 2 YouTube backup channels. And just a reminder on YouTube, notifications seem to not go out, so even subscribing on other platforms is good, but with YouTube, it's also good to select the bell for all notifications. And if you're finding this stream helpful tonight and the information, please consider hitting the like button so we can get the information into more people's feeds, and also consider sharing it. So thank you again, and we'll be moving along here. And Harold's back with us as well. And one last reminder, this channel is for educational purposes only. All right, Harold, you ready to roll?
Let's do it.
All right.
Question 2.
Does Arcade, did you have something to share?
No, that's
Okay.
I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to rush you. All right, so question 2 is, why do we have to come here to learn about love if we are already loving by nature? And I think this is the most common question that I get asked. So this is a question that's very, very hard to answer and articulate into language, because we are looking at things from a very, very limited perspective here, and our language is even more limited. But the best way that I could answer that is to say that on one level, I do think it is true that we are here to learn about love. And I know that many near-death experiencers are told this: life is the school of learning how to love. And it just makes it really simple and easy for us to understand on this level. But
simple and easy, but this is the narrative. What's really interesting about everything you're going to hear about the whole love thing is that it's just explained away, but we hear it over and over and over and over again. It doesn't matter what it is, that everything is about love. So, you can't slice and dice it and try and rearrange it and make it seem like it's something other than as advertised, because they present it that way. So just keep that in mind as we're moving along with this.
I think maybe it's more of like a grade school way of describing what's happening, and maybe more like
it's very specific.
A college graduate way of trying to explain it would be less that we have come here because we need to learn about love, and more that we want to be part of the expansion and unfoldment of love. So here we are within time, and we're looking at things as a progression of events. We're experiencing the evolution of our souls, so to speak. But in reality, outside of time, where we exist as spiritual beings, there is no progression of events. There is nothing to learn. We don't need to grow and develop. We are already perfect. And this is the part that's really hard to describe. The universe is perfect because it is becoming perfection, and it is experiencing that becoming and that evolution into the perfection that it already is. And it's the eternal unfoldment of now, or the eternal evolution and unfoldment of love. And we come here to experience that and to be a part of that. So in some way, when we project our consciousness into this world of contrast, where we can experience something that is the opposite of love, and we can still be what we are strengthening love or expanding love. Even though love is already perfect, it is perfect because it is evolving into perfection.
Oh.
And that doesn't make sense to our human minds, but that's the best way that I can describe it.
I
That
love
was
it.
beautiful. RK?
Yeah,
Anything you want to say on that, Harold, before we move on to the?
Oh man, I don't even know what to say to that. It's just I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's just speaking from a position of authority. We just know because I saw it. I saw the system in the making. I saw what was happening, and and here we are in the a little bit, yeah. And it's like, here we are in the 8-bit. We just can't really explain it to you why, but trust blindly.
Yeah.
And I find it weird, like that we're here to expand our perfect love that we already have.
Yeah.
That makes no sense if you really think about it. No, it's
Yeah.
perfect already. It's perfect already. So we shouldn't need to. And I don't know if it's just me, but being here, I feel like I'm the only one that does really love, and everyone around me doesn't know how. So it's like,
Yes. Thank you.
I mean, in most look at children, like they know how to love already, but as they get older, they start to, get corrupted. And it's where does that, how does that excel perfection? To excel perfection, you need to be better than perfect. So this place needs to be better than perfect, logically speaking. And, it's kind of like, how do you make something better with something
Worse.
infinitely shittier?
Infinite has great. Infinitely shittier.
Yeah, it's how does that expand perfectness already? That you can't explain it because it's not logical. This is what we do when we're operating off 100% faith. It's like the blinders are up, the safety blankets on, and don't question it, because if you do, then you get scared. And that's exactly what this is. All of this is a fear-based, speaking from authority response to me, and it will always be that way, because who wants to admit who wants to admit that that they got tricked into this? Nobody. So sorry, went off there,
don't
but
be sorry. No,
yeah,
you said it perfectly well, man.
yeah.
I love it. I actually thought about this question, and I honestly was like stuck with it, and I was like, how do I explain that feeling? How do I explain everything that was downloaded, but in the form of feeling, in the form of knowing words?
Keyword.
And I think it is far more complex than we can think or imagine, from the human mind we are right now at. But when and I'm speaking from my own experience, when I had my out of body experiences, I didn't feel like there was something on earth we were learning and taking to afterlife. Like there was nothing that I was taking to afterlife. And the love and this question is completely logical, because I understand why would someone, would ask this, and I would ask the same thing. Because I felt like I was this pure love. I was the entire universe was within me, and I was connected to everybody and everything. So I thought, well, why did I go to Earth? But then I had this unconditional love to Earth, and I felt this responsibility that I have to go back. And then I started questioning here on Earth and researching consciously already, asking myself, okay, so I am this love and it's at my core. So what am I doing here? And I think we aren't actually learning about love, but we are remembering about our love and what we are, and also having this experiences where we have the separation, where we have the physical form, these sensations, these physical sensations, and individual characteristics to each other, which we don't have on the other side. We are completely one, and here we are separate. We have separate thoughts, we have separate talents, hobbies, interests, and things like that. And I think that's beautiful. And I was thinking like, okay, then the message I was given was the purpose of your life is love. And I was thinking, but I already love everybody and everything. But then I was still loving from the mind. There is this mind love, mind filtered love, which is, there was this story, I watched this video. I forgot the name of the author, but he was asked, he was a fisher. So he was asked, do you love fish? And why do you love fish? And he goes, oh, fish tastes yummy. And it tastes good, it fills me up. And then, but is that true love? And then to that fisherman, it was, the question was, isn't that fish love? Because you don't love the fish itself. It's freedom, and it's the fish for who it is, but you love the taste of it, the pleasure it gives you. And that was the ego filtered love. But the pure love we have is the freedom that we give to that fish for being itself, for swimming, for being the colorful, for being a mess, pooping, everything. So you love that fish entirely, unconditionally. No agenda, nothing wrapped around, completely. And I think we slowly, by our human experiences, by our challenges, by our ego guiding us, we learn slowly about that. We slowly learn to love everything about ourselves, every suffering we had, every failure we had, every doubt we had, slowly transcending it all with unconditional love, because that's what we end up with at the end. And I think the divine purpose is remembering the love, despite of how much we have forgotten about who we truly are.
It's all about love, regardless of how much we forgot about who we truly are. Yeah. Let's just throw away our complete essence and, again, bank everything on trust and faith. It only goes so far. I mean, it's just difficult.
And by expanding our experiences.
I'm sorry, Harold. Go ahead.
No, I was going to make a quick point. Just even with our feeble 2D brains, we could understand certain things. And that's why they're not able to explain this whatsoever. They're able to explain a lot of everything else, but the reason why, you know, we're here, to expand a love that's already infinite. They can't explain it because it's just, I lost my train of thought. I did have a point. I'll come back to it.
Take your time. I'm going to rewind it a little bit.
No, it was from an earlier point. Just, yeah, I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it.
And by creating something new and expanding the universe by, you know, each one of us having different experiences, different worlds. You have the different view, you had different experiences, I had different challenges, and it's expanding the whole universe because we are the universe. And we, through those experiences, we apply that unconditional love to it. So at the end, would I say that we learn about love coming here? I would say we remember our love, and we learn to apply that love to everything, and we go beyond that separation. We don't separate the good and bad, dark and white, and joy and pain. We just love everything unconditionally because it was never separate. It was always one. I wouldn't say we come to learn about love, but remember about love and ourselves. and also expand the universe, expand ourselves and who we are by creating our worlds, our experiences. So that's what I would say. So I wouldn't like specifically use the word I'm learning about love, because I don't know, I think I'm remembering about love. Because if you take all the layers of all the beliefs and religions, everything that was applied, I am left with nothing but love. To like, I would be left with love. That's what I would be left with. It's so hard to explain in words. Anyways, I hope that made sense, because it makes so much sense in my head. And I watched this video of Dolores Cannon, and she says, we come here to learn about energy and manipulate energy. And I thought about it. How do we learn to manipulate energy? You know, it's easy to go through the life and go through experiences when you are centered, when you are present, when you are loving. And you know, you have that trust in yourself, you have that trust in the universe, because you are the universe and you know it's happening for you. You learn about your love, and then the outside world starts mirroring that love.
Thank you, RK. That was beautiful. I really resonate with that. So yeah, language is ridiculously limiting and difficult in this context. So I'll just give it a shot, but I agree it's butchering it no matter what words we use. Okay, so the true substance of our being.
Before we continue, there's a reason why I've never really gone down the Dolores Cannon route with information. I find her extremely unreliable, if not a complete fraud. I mean, just gonna say it right out. That's my opinion. Everyone can make of it what you will. Did she discover or share tactics that helped individuals? Of course, just like many of the other spiritual, quote unquote, teachers out there. But at some point, anyone who's kind of not lost in the sauce with her methods and I'll just say agenda, will see how it's not going to do you any good, at least research wise. When you have someone spitting out loads of unsubstantiated BS that doesn't align or show a pattern of, at least in data terms, I take issue with it. When you see someone who spits out information that clearly goes along with the mainstream type of spiritual hooks, you should take notice. So make of it what you will. I mean, I don't care how many subscribers I lose or what have you, but just calling it out like it is. That doesn't mean there isn't other valuable information from individuals who do past life regressions, but you really got to be careful. You really do. And what we want is reliable, sane data. Now, is it always going to be sane? No, but at least like you got to try to do the best you can with what's available, and sniff out those who are trying to take you for a ride. And the Dolores Cannon industry is definitely one of them. Sorry.
Being is love. And it doesn't need anything.
Did you want to add anything to that, Harold?
Yeah, I was just saying she was, been looking into Dolores, and I haven't even looked into that individual yet. But like, how much research have they done into this topic besides relying on their own experience? Like, she's looked into Dolores, but let's take a look at Mark's channel, Forever Conscious Research. If you guys ever do watch this video, watch other videos, give it a chance. Just what does it hurt? Take, just
Thanks,
look
bro.
into some more information and more research, and take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah, that's all you can
That's it.
do. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and everyone has to do their own research, and be open to any and all possible scenarios. The love and light narrative is spread far and wide. The religious narrative is spread far and wide, but putting this reality to the test with different perspectives, it really isn't. And if it is, it's usually coming from the Matrix. At least that's what I found. Pat.
Yep.
Thanks, brother.
Yep.
Thing. Need is another human learned idea. Spirit itself, beingness itself, is, and it is totally free and full. It is all life. It's full of all life. It has no need. So you could say love is what is like a describer of the substance of beingness. It describes life itself. It describes what we are. So then why come to, quote, learn love? Learn, I agree, learn is a really difficult word, and perhaps not the right word. But we only have so many words. And the learning we do is not intellectual. It's not behavioral even. It is experiential. It is a growth of the being with a capital B by being with a lowercase b.
Christian.
So what I mean is the spirit that we are.
Yeah, go ahead, Harold.
Experiencing love, would that mean getting decapitated or all the other horrors to experience? Is that that's it? Because we realize that's happening all around us all the we're not even, we're talking tip of the iceberg of the disgusting crap that happens around us. Let's not ignore the true horrors that go on.
Yeah, most people live in poverty. Most individuals have a very tough go at it. And that's just everyday life, let alone like you're saying, torturous parents or whatever the case may be, being trafficked. I mean, you pick it. It's out there.
Actual physical torture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Come on.
It's the Western mindset that doesn't take into account everything that goes on, and I don't know. It's they compartmentalize it so that their narratives will still stay front and center, and not affect their real world view. Like we were talking about earlier, it's like, hey, the evidence is all around us. Just look. I mean, it's can get very ugly, but you want to be honest with yourself and give a real assessment of what this place is all about, or you just want to tuck your tail between your legs and just say, oh, well, everything's love and light.
Yep. Everything, right? Come on.
Sad.
Come on.
Really sad.
The consciousness that we are, the fullness that we are, expands what it is, and it is made of love. Okay. So it's an expansion of love through the process of being something specific. And the deeper the context, so like the human experience is an extremely limiting context, very, very vibrationally distant by comparison state of being. And because the distance is so great, the opportunity is so great.
All right. So, I mean, let's just chalk this up and call it out for what it is. It's like, okay, so because you're so disconnected, because you're so incapable of reaching your true essence, that there is a some sort of positive that comes out of all this, but yet we're still supposed to buy into what the system is selling when we came from it to here. like in the meat suit, in the realm, you know, and everything is as advertised right outside of here. The reason why the system uses love, the reason why it uses this incessant love bomb and attachments and the soul group and the life review and on and on and on, is because it's a manipulation tactic. It's set out in a way that it's going to be super powerful when you experience it, whether you have an NDE or whether it's when you're dying, whatever the case may be. It's all set up in a perfect little wrap bow of a box so that you continue to fall for it, because all it cares about is getting us to buy into it and its illusions and false hierarchical structures when we die or lifetime after lifetime. And if it could kind of needle and prod you along the way while you're here, it's winning. If you're buying into the illusions that it's selling, then that's it. It's no different than, you know, walking down the street in Brooklyn or something and seeing someone set up 3 cups and they throw the coins or the dice underneath the cup and they're swishing them all around, and you think that you have it figured out. You're convinced that you know where it fell and that you're going to bet that the outcome is correct. Meanwhile, the guy is slipping dice underneath the cup that is going to be the loser. I mean, it's just the sleight of hand trick every step of the way. Anything you want to add to that? We're getting pretty close to the end of this one.
Well said. Nope. That was it.
Because the further we can go out in that vibrational distance, if we can meet this experience with love and integrate this experience, integrate means fully process, fully come to terms with, fully meet our fears, fully experience everything and accept everything. And you know, as we do that, we shine what we already are, that love and that joy and that freedom, because that is our true nature. And as we can shine that into the world, even in very, very small ways, like I'm not talking you got to move all these mountains. I'm saying like the beauty of any common moment as we bring love and joy and peace into it. If we can do that here, there's this beautiful, oh my gosh, there's no words for this, expansion of the body of life, or the body of being itself grows and expands to that place. So you might think of it like contrast is a creative tool that consciousness uses to expand its already loving nature. We are creative beings, so we choose to experience this, and we choose to exercise our creativity even in a context of great limitation like this one, even when things can be really difficult and crazy, and even when we're like, goodness, we don't remember we're unconditionally loved. Can you imagine? Like, here we are. And while we don't remember we're unconditionally loved, from here we're making choices. You see, it's an incredible context through which to expand and integrate experience, so that the true nature of our loving being can more fully grow and express. So I guess that's the only way I can possibly try to put it in a succinct way. It's like love is already what we are. We can't lose it. We don't need to do anything. But love and joy are their own reward. Love and joy are beautiful and awesome. So we choose to expand love and joy. We're curious enough and creative enough and powerful enough that we choose to even come and have an experience of incredible limitation for the expansion of love and joy.
I mean, I think us taking better control of ourselves and using things like affirmations and meditation. I'm sorry, 1 minute. Using things like meditation, morning affirmations, mindfulness alarms, just simple things like that, getting out into nature, are really helpful to try and balance out things. And you got to find what works best for you. But I swear by getting out into nature. I think it's really important that everyone takes advantage of getting sun as often as possible. I know certain climates that we all live in isn't ideal for that, but there are ways around it, right? I mean, even if you live in an environment that's cold, you can have, you could set yourself up every day, or at least not every day, but close to every day, where, you're getting the sun beaming down through your window. So, you don't have to go outside, but, you're sitting in an area where you're getting enough sun and rejuvenating yourself and getting that vitamin D. Mindfulness alarm going off every hour or so, and just stopping everything that you're doing to allow yourself that time to slow down and not be in the everyday system. I don't even know how to put it. The everyday system attention grabbing process that's out there. I don't know what the hell to say, but it's like, just find what works for you, but don't neglect yourself completely. And trust me, I'm not the beacon of health or the beacon of anything, but I do know there are some things that work, and I share them here on the channel as much as possible because look, for as difficult as things may be, you still are here. You still go to sleep every night. You still wake up every morning and grab your lunch and drive to work or whatever you're doing. But find what works for you. Find some sort of pattern. Like that's it's like a downfall and a beauty of being a human. It's like we are very trainable. And things like affirmations in the morning, whether I like to do them in the shower or right when I get up for 15, 20 minutes. And I use them to program my mind into a better mindset that isn't filled with negativity. Because for as difficult as everything is out there, I'm not going to allow myself to fall into the exactly what the system wants. Hell no. I will do my best. And, am I going to slip and fall along the way and fall into ruts? Of course. I mean, it's just the way it is. But, having some sort of consistent mechanism in place, system, complete, like, setup so that you're taking care of yourself and looking out for yourself is important. And I just really hope that everyone listening finds something that works for them. And, spiritual practices work. They do. And I don't want anyone to fall into pits of depression or being suicidal or things like that. It's, it really hurts when I see some of you out there who will leave a comment and feeling that way. And I'm not saying I don't understand. I do. But at the same time, I think there are things out there that can help you. Even hypnotic tracks, or even setting up an appointment with a hypnotist. Finding like-minded individuals that you can talk to fairly regularly, right? I mean, do what you need to do for yourself and just take that leap and train yourself. I'm telling you, like the affirmation thing, the mindfulness thing, the mindfulness alarm, those two things alone can work wonders. They really can. I can't stress it enough. They can help you get through the difficulties of the day-to-day life that is this whole Matrix experience. But you don't deserve to suffer to the maximum. You don't. And take breaks. Take breaks from truth, right? Seeking truth and spiritual answers gets difficult after a while. It does. So try to check in with yourself and be honest with yourself once in a while so that you're allowing yourself to not be as hooked into the negativity, especially relating to the soul trap. I mean, it's a negative topic, but it's also empowering. It should help you feel self-empowered and realize that, hey, I got a lot to look forward to, but I'm also going to make the best of the time I have left, and nothing's going to stop me. Nothing's going to get in my way, and I sure as hell ain't going to feed that damn leash system. So yeah, I kind of went on a rant there, but Harold, you want to add anything before we close things out?
Yeah, just on a lighter note, like just think about all the cool stuff you might miss. I think we're in for some shows coming up here pretty soon, man. I mean, just think about all this crap that's happening. Just stick it out. It's gonna get kind of weird and interesting.
Yeah. Well said, man. Yeah, I totally agree. It's gonna get weird. It's gonna get hilarious. I mean, hey, sit back, enjoy the clown show. It's a clown show. You know, just get a good laugh. But at the same time, like if a lot of mainstream, I can really only speak for YouTube, because a lot of the other alternative video sites don't have this, but YouTube is a professional at throwing negative things in your feed or mainstream things in your feed. There's hold on, let me find it. I think it's like do not. All right. There's a button. It depends on where you are. Like for instance, like if you were to click my video today, and YouTube has a recommended below or on the side, depending on if you're watching on a mobile or a computer, you can hit don't recommend channel or not interested. Now, my policy is if it's mainstream, I click don't recommend channel. I don't care. Like I don't want to know. I don't care what's going on in the world. I really don't. I mean, I'll I may, if something major happens, I'll find out at some point, but it might be a few days late or a few weeks late, but something will eventually come across, or someone will share something with me and say, "Hey, have you seen this?" Blah blah blah. But the don't recommend channel or not, and the not interested are very good. The thing is with not interested is like you won't get as many related to the topics of the videos that they're trying to push on you, but the do not recommend channel, especially for things like mainstream, is amazing. And it may take you, a number of months. I mean, maybe even a good portion of a year to weed out all of the mainstream things that are trying to come your way. Because remember, there's not just like ABC, Fox, CBS in your city, but there's, of course, New York, there's Los Angeles, there's Texas, there's Omaha and Montana. I mean, all that stuff. So you want to make sure that you're covering all your bases and getting rid of all of the mainstream things that are designed to bring you down, and cut them all out. Now, the beauty of something that happens as far as like a big, massive mainstream thing, like the whole thing we dealt with over the last few years, that's a great example, because they were trying to come at all of us any which way possible. And so there were like, the most random mainstream things in the middle of nowhere that I never clicked that would appear, because it was so concerned with getting my attention, your attention, that they would appear, because all the other ones were already do not recommend. Or so really take advantage of that. I mean, I can't speak for it enough. And when, negative headlines and just negative events aren't coming across your feed or your every day, you will feel so much better. But that's just like one little small component. But if you just kind of work over it, take some time, but you won't be inundated with this negativity. If you don't see it, you don't know about it, and it just makes life easier. So, before we close out, I just want to kind of give Harold the floor to, if you have any last minute things you want to say. Oh, one more thing before we do close out. I just want to say we are going to make this at least 2-part series, maybe a 3-part series, because we went a little, there's a lot to unpack in all these videos. And so Harold and I will be rejoining one another and coming on for a live stream together with you all sometime, maybe over the next week or so, or a month or so, and get that finish out the series for you. So this will be part 1 of at least 2, possibly 3 videos. And Harold, I just want to give you an opportunity to finish off things. Anything you want to add?
Not too much. Just wanted to say thanks for having me again. It's always fun. I love talking about this stuff. I learn every single time we speak, and I also get, reassurance from it every single time. Just remembering what I am, and it's empowering, regardless of how scary it is, uh, and again, for the people that are like suffering out there, just hang in there. Again, it's gonna get weird and funny. Just hang on. I mean, we literally have like Skynet's alive now. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah.
AI is like, I don't know, in like it seemed like to me like weeks. It just this AI is like everything, right?
It
Um,
is.
it's insane. But anyways, just hang in there, guys, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Harold. I really appreciate you coming on tonight, and look forward to going over the remainder of these videos that we have set aside. And thank you for joining us. All right, so Harold's taken off for the evening, and before we close things out, I just want to remind everyone that I do have 2 YouTube backup channels, or if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting the bell and selecting all for the main channel and the 2 backups just as a precaution. The 2 backups are just parked there sitting, so you're not going to get harassed or anything with those. But if something were to happen, at least you get a notification. A lot of viewers, well, not a lot, but there's like probably about 30% of you saying like, oh, I don't get notifications from YouTube about your channel or about other channels. I mean, this is something that has been happening for a long time. So the only solution I have is like, hey, click subscribe and hit the bell for all on the main channel and the backup. But also, like, if you have an account on Odyssey or Rumble or Twitch or all of the above, consider signing up to that. I know Twitch sends out emails, but I mostly do Truth in Gaming there, but also streaming on there tonight. So sometimes, like, if you'd prefer to watch the channel, I know Rumble sends out emails. I think Odyssey does too. But at least you'll kind of get a notification at least when the channel goes live if you like swinging by on the live streams. And Odyssey is my preferred second platform. YouTube's nice and the reach is great, but also dealing with a lot of unnecessary hassles here. And I love Odyssey. I think everyone should consider signing up for the site. And Rumble's a good third, but I get the feeling that Rumble is, they could improve their platform even more and are not doing it. And they've kind of, at least in my opinion, shown that they're not interested in doing so. And it's got the whole BitChute vibes. I mean, just for those of you who've witnessed BitChute's evolution, it's non-existent, right? As far as I know, they don't even have live streaming yet. I mean, there are controlled platforms out there. I'm not saying that probably I'm not saying that they aren't all controlled, but Odyssey, I see consistently making updates and changing and doing things in favor of the creator. So I really support Odyssey above all else. And it'd be great if you can join me over on that platform. And while I'm at it, I'd like to give a big shout out to anyone watching over on Odyssey and Rumble and Twitch. I hope you're doing well. 7Arid, hope you're doing well over on Twitch there. And I want to give a big thanks to Jeff Fields, Renstar, Most Audacious, and anyone else watching on Odyssey tonight. And Rumble's been a bit quiet, but that's all right. I like having platforms where we can share this content and get the word out even more, because the most important thing is to spread awareness. And the last thing I'll mention is the channel does have memberships on Odyssey and YouTube. So if you're interested in joining and getting some extra content each month, feel free to check that out. The links are available in the description. And there is also a backlog of videos that you would have access to, not just the monthly members live streams, which are usually the last Sunday of every month. And that brings me to the next point, where the next member stream for March of 2023 will be Sunday the 26th. That's tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there's an Instagram, a Twitter, and a D Live, which I don't really use, but I do use Twitter and Instagram as another way to send out notifications, usually about an hour in advance. And I think that will... Oh, and if you're interested in booking a session, there's also a link in the description for that, because I know some of you have asked about meeting up and having a one-on-one, and trying to disconnect from technology more and more as much as I can. And so I guess I will leave things there. And don't forget to give a big thanks to Harold for swinging by tonight. It was great to have him with us, and really, really appreciate it. So what I'm going to do before I end the stream, I'm just going to play a little music in the background and see what everyone's saying in the chat, and just say a quick hello. I'm sorry I wasn't able to really talk much tonight, but we had a lot going on, and my multitasking ability sucks. So if you are catching the replay or what have you, the content portion of everything kind of ends now, and but I'll be going over some questions or comments in the chat until the end. So got about another 5 minutes, and thank you so much, and look forward to seeing some of you tomorrow. Okay. Hey, Conscious Soul, good to see you. How you feeling? Hey, Break the Spell, good to see you. Oh, yeah, let's post Harold's YouTube. Yeah, and I'm going to also put Harold's YouTube in the description tab for y'all. Sorry, I didn't know he was sharing any links. I meant to ask him that before. I'm going to get the link for Harold's channel right now. Just give me one moment. Hey, Mary, okay, you need another invite? Sure. Yeah, the Last Timers Club stream levels and higher include access to the Last Timers Discord server. And I'm gonna drop Harold's channel right now on all the platforms. I'll also have that in the description tab sometime after the stream. JB, exactly. exactly regarding BitChute. There's some other interesting things about that. Translation. Conscious Soul, were you able to get to the dentist yet? And what about some of those tests I know you were waiting on? Thank you for the heads up, Black Uni. I didn't know the Twitch link was not working. Okay, getting back to the chat here. Thanks, Candidly. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Raphael asks, are animals evolving into human, or is it just bullshit? Okay, so my personal opinion on all of that, as far as animals go, I think we have probably been animals. This is, again, just my opinion. I'm not saying I know for certain, but I feel like the way they would prime us for coming and falling further into the illusion would be to, like, okay, so you pull up and say, hey, okay, I want to experience whatever the hell's going on behind the gates of this matrix, right? And, you know, you sign away your essence and you get to keep a portion of it, and or even a larger portion in the beginning. And then you go and you come down here, and you might not necessarily be a human, right? We may be a worm or a fish or a dog or a cat, or hell, a leaf on a tree or a tree itself, something like that. And so what it does is it kind of slowly primes us for being used to the kind of experiencing here. And then it progressively gets worse, but we also progressively get more and more lost along the way. So, you know, I think just like with humans, again, this is my opinion, I think there are some who are NPCs. They literally do not have a soul, and then, or an essence, or spirit. And then there are some who do have it, but are so far gone and so lost that they are barely even a shell of who they truly are, which is their complete essence. So, yeah, I mean, I have at least no doubt in my mind that some animals have, there's just no doubt in my mind that some of them have an essence within. There's no doubt. Now, again, this is just personal. It's based on my experience and observations and stuff like that. But I've also felt that way with a lot of other surroundings within this construct. So, of course, there's always room for manipulation and deception, but in my gut, I believe wholeheartedly that there's no difference. Animals, humans, whatever the case may be, there are some that have an essence and some that don't. And I think us kind of progressing to human form over the course of lifetimes or experiences within material realities or cogs in the wheel of the matrix in general only help further get us and our soul group and everyone within our kind of clique just get lost. So thanks, Canada. Appreciate you. I'm really looking forward to doing part 2 and 3 with Harold. There's a lot more information to go on this series, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. Click the link on Twitch, but there's nothing there. I'll drop the link again. Maybe it's dead. Maybe the link is dead. Let me try and find it. Okay, so alright, I think I'm getting a little tired, my friends. Thought I was gonna be able to hang out a little longer, but I had a long week camping. Camped for 7 nights, and oh, it was so refreshing though. It really recharges you. I can't speak enough about it. Getting out in the nature and camping and breathing the fresh air, getting that sun every day and walking around. And, I kind of already mentioned it, but I keep saying it because of how helpful it is. So I hope if you have the opportunity, or at least a way to arrange to get sun and fresh air, or ground yourself in whatever way possible, it can work wonders. It really can. Okay, so I'm gonna head out, my friends, and maybe Harold and I will see you sometime next week or next weekend, and we'll continue on with this series. We'll be going to part 2. Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I didn't see this until now. Ken Albert donated a super chat earlier on in the stream before we started. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate you, my friend. Thanks so much. And ADD Dad also sent a kind and generous super chat. Says, great show, thanks. And thank you. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to miss you. I just, for some reason, it didn't pop up in the window that I had over here. I had the wrong thing click. So thank you to both of you, and thank you to everyone else who supported the channel along the way. And we'll see some of you tomorrow, Sunday, for the member stream, and then there will probably be a part 2 with Harold sometime next week or weekend. So I'll see you soon. And don't work too hard this week, all right, my friends?